Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So this is my third stream, and that's because Bitcoin flash crashed. Yes, a big Bitcoin flash crash. So what exactly happened? And should you be worried? Well, that's why I'm streaming here to hopefully shed some light and calm some nerves. So thanks for tuning in as always. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams, maybe sometimes 3 streams every single day, 11:30, 8 p.m. And now I'm having one at 11 p.m. as well. So make sure you hit that notification bell. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All right, let's do this, guys. A lot of people already here wondering what is going on. I'll tell you exactly what's going on. It's actually very, very simple. And this is something I've been telling you guys to avoid for a very, very, very long time. I keep telling you guys, do not do this. Do not do this. And what is that? Well, that is to leverage longs. People just don't believe me and keep saying, no, 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 I know better. I know better. So Bitcoin, I was just streaming, about an hour ago, 2 hours ago. Bitcoin was around, right around here, 59,000. And then since then, it dropped to 51,000 and nearly hit that 50,000 support, but it didn't. And now it's coming back up. Diamond Doge, well, no, I would say that's premature to declare. but what's the reason for this? Well, the whales just timed it perfectly. I'm going to show you something that is just mind-blowing, okay? And that is this. The liquidations that we just had, this long squeeze that we just had, is so large, in fact, that I have to move my camera now just so you guys can see it properly. And it makes all these other liquidations seem tame. And this is within the last month or so. It makes this 700 million longs and this one right here, a 600 million long, look tame. And you know why? Because we just had close to $3 billion, yes, $3 billion worth of long liquidation just now. And I'm expecting this to continue too, because this is not in real time. Obviously, there's a little delay, so this is probably going to rise. This is what I'm saying. Don't leverage trade. Don't do it. Not only are you going to get liquidated, it has a cascading effect, and more liquidations cause more and more sell-offs, and that's how you can have the whales drive. You can see Bitcoin's coming up in a big way, right? I would not be surprised it goes right back up to 59,000 by tomorrow. But that's the reason why this could happen. It's because you have all these longs being liquidated, and they're selling and selling and selling. The leverage exchanges, they have no choice. When they liquidate you, they just sell off everything, right? And that's why when you have a cascading effect, you have this happen. In the past, we had a lot of this kind of event happen in reverse, where you see Bitcoin shoot up 1,000 points, 2,000 points, 3,000 points all of a sudden. And those are primarily caused by the inverse, where you have short liquidations, where you have too many greedy people that is expecting Bitcoin to go down. But nowadays, no one expects Bitcoin to go down, not significantly. Nowadays, everyone is expecting to go up, and everyone is putting on a huge long leverage trade. And this is what the whales are looking for. This data is known. I'm almost certain that these derivative exchanges are actually releasing the data so that these whales can study, okay, we have a large number of contracts, right, longs, that gets liquidated at this point, this point, this point, this point, this point. How much liquidity do we need to get this snowball effect rolling, right? And then let's put in some sell orders and buy orders, whatever, right? And then we could time it perfectly. This is exactly what they did. And if we didn't have so much, first of all, leverage out there, and we didn't have so many people leveraging, this would not have happened. So, I mean, this is exactly what happened. And not only Bitcoin, you look at Ethereum. Ethereum liquidation is so big too. It's $674 million, $675 million. So in between, you're talking about almost $4 billion, $3.5 billion of longs liquidated. And that is exactly that's what happened. I mean, if you want to know answer, that's exactly what happened. The whales studied the books, looked at all the greedy longs, where they will be liquidated at what point, and then they calculated exactly how to take advantage and drive things lower, right? This is it. It's that simple. Now, going beyond that, how does this compare to previous drops? Well, it's about the same. This is about the same. So if you look at from the top, let's just go all the way to the top, even though we've been coming down a little bit, but let's go all the way to the top, going to where it was before. It's about 20% drop. So that's a pretty good drop for a pullback. In fact, at this point, right around here, I would say that's a pretty darn good buying opportunity, right? I always say buy the dips, dollar cost average, and hold. This is right here a pretty good opportunity, right? And if you look at previous drops, if you look at, say, like, from 60 down to 50, oops, that's not what I wanted to do, but okay, let's draw another one. So if you look at some of these previous drops, you'll see that, like this one was about 16%, right? But if you look at, say, something like this from over here where we first got up to about 50 something and then we went down, that was about 26%. So we do see these drops periodically. And this is why I always say, follow the 50-25-25 rule. Because yes, during good times, like the last few weeks, especially this last week, when things are going good, you could go greedy on the alts and they'll make you a ton of money. But the reverse always happens. When things go down, the alts drain much faster too. So obviously, within the last few hours, your portfolio is probably hurting a little bit if you're very, very heavy into alts, right? But bank cash flow, appreciate that. Yeah, but the bottom line is, in this market, we know Bitcoin is early. We know Bitcoin is going to go much higher, right? And this is just the beginning. I think 100,000 is a sure thing. But with that said, you don't want to be greedy. What's that saying? Bulls make money, bears make money, but hogs get slaughtered. And that's what's happening. This tonight happened because of this. This is so ridiculous. This is the most ridiculous, long squeeze that I've seen for a long time. I've seen articles where it talks about 1 billion, 1.5 billion. I haven't seen an article yet that is going to say that 3 billion's worth of long contracts just got liquidated. I don't recall within the last however many years leverage existed. I've never heard that. This is probably the largest number in history. I mean, that's how bad it is. But, with that said, Bitcoin is still, very healthy. It's not like we dropped down to $3,000. So it's not like Armageddon, okay? I don't want to paint it as Armageddon, but still, this happened because of a lot of greedy longs, and people always get into this argument. Like, I know what I'm doing, right? I know what I'm doing. I know how to study the market. I know how to long so that I can maximize my returns, right? But you know what? The whales, they're on another level, right? They have a lot of liquidity. They have leverage on their side, and they could see exactly how to do the most damage. I mean, honestly, that's just how it is. I mean, it's that simple. So, with that said, okay, so what should you do? Should you be panic selling at this point? The answer is no. I've been saying this for a while. If you want to sell, at top while things are going up. You want to sell to take profits. You never want to sell when you're panicking. So if you're thinking about panic selling, you don't want to do that. Chill, take a breather, realize that this is temporary, realize that Bitcoin will come back up, and the worst thing you could do right now is panic sell. Okay? Because if you do, like, look at these previous times, and this is just going back a month. I know a lot of people probably panic sold right here. And guess what happened? Right after that, Bitcoin came up in a big way. Same thing. If you panic sold at here, you would have lost out on all that, right? Bitcoin does go up and it does come down. Nothing goes up forever. right? So you got to keep that in mind. Never panic sell. What you want to do is set a strategy for yourself to be able to dollar cost average, to buy the dips and hodl. And if you're afraid, then of course, start taking profits and take them off the top while we're going up. And I actually created a video in terms of how to take profits. So if you guys didn't watch that, you should do so. But bottom line is, the most important rule about taking profits is just take out your initial investment. Take out your initial investment, there's no way you can be burned, right? If something doubles 100% and you take out what you put in, even if it drops to zero, you're fine. You're covered. You're never going to be in a loss, right? And then afterwards, you set your own schedule. So the bottom line, Phil, appreciate it. Yeah, I felt like 7,000 people watching. Yeah, I know a lot of people panicking right now. So I felt compelled. I had to come on and jump on and stream for you guys. There's just so many new people in this space. I know a lot of you guys that's been with me for years, since 2017 and so forth. We've seen 30%. We've seen 50% drops, okay? We're hardened by that. But most people watching right now, I guarantee you probably like 80 or 90% people watching right now are people that entered the space within the last 3 months since the rise, right? And you're not used to seeing some of this. This is perfectly natural. This is whale activity, which is why I coined the phrase, whales do whalish things, or whales play whalish games. And I know I don't mean countrymen. I mean like whales, Bitcoin whales, and crypto whales. They know how to take advantage, and they know how to cause panic, and they know how to drive fear and FUD. I'm still hearing a lot of people saying, oh, look at this pie chart, or look at this, or look at this bottom or top or pattern. You know what? Bitcoin is not going to go up anymore. That's all nonsense. That's all nonsense. Pay attention to what I've been covering, the news coverage, the interest in Bitcoin and Bitcoin services, now Coinbase, their IPO, and of course you got MicroStrategy. I'll guarantee you on Monday, Michael Saylor's going to say, I bought another $15 million of the Bitcoin, maybe even more. I'll guarantee you that. Let's see if that's right. Because these big players, including Michael and MicroStrategy and all these guys, they're buying for a long haul. And I'll guarantee you that institutions are buying more behind the scenes that we're not even noticing right now. But story comes out and we'll see. We'll see, right? So bottom line is, don't panic. This happened because the whales knew that they could cause this to happen with long liquidations, and this is just ugly. This is just ugly, and Ethereum just as ugly. This is all-time ugly. Like I said, I don't think I've seen a $3 billion or close to $3 billion long liquidation in my lifetime. I don't think I've seen that before. That is all-time high, and that's not a good all-time high. So again, don't do it. Don't play with leverage. But the good thing is, Bitcoin is coming back, and altcoins are coming back, right? So this is actually right here, I would say, a pretty good darn buying opportunity. But again, if you're wondering if it's going to go down more or what, I've always said too, sprout your buys. If you're ready to buy in, right? You got some cash on the side or whatever, sprout your buys and dollar cost average, and then you'll be in it. And you're protecting yourself. So, Oz, thank you for that. Captain Chicken Lifts, appreciate that. Tom, appreciate that. 8,000 people. 8,000 people. More people tuning in. I know a lot of you guys tuning in. You're a newcomer, first time to the stream. Welcome. Bottom line is, this was not caused, okay, by any random event. It was not caused by some technical pattern or some indicator that's telling you, okay, Bitcoin's about to drop from 59,000 down to 50,000. No, there's nothing like that. Bottom line is, there was too many long leverage contracts. Too many people are too greedy. They feel like they could outsmart the markets. They feel like they could outsmart the whales. But all this data is shared with them. I guarantee you these derivative exchanges and so forth, they probably sell this data out. Like where all the longs are, what their liquidation points are, and this is exactly what you could do to get rid of them. I've always speculated maybe the exchanges themselves are part of this. I don't know. I can't prove that. But it just seems very suspicious. Every time there's too many longs, this happens, right? And this is exactly what happened. $3 billion. Oh, It hurts. It hurts. But Bitcoin is coming back up, pretty good. Very good, in fact. Coming there back up to 57. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised. It bounces right back up to 59 tomorrow and maybe even more. Because this was just temporary. And it was actually needed. It reset a lot of indicators. So those of you guys that are technical guys and you look at like something like the 4-hour, the 4-hour RSI is below 30. That's fantastic. That reset things, right? So a lot of these things are reset. You look at something, Calvin, appreciate that. You look at the daily, stochastic and RSI were high. Now they're coming down in a big way. This is actually close to the point before where Bitcoin went up and made the next leg up exactly at that point, right? So this actually did wonders in terms of resetting things. Dr. Steven, appreciate it. But all right, now let's look at CMC. We were at just at 15%, negative 15%. Now it's 12%. We're back up to 2 trillion, so that's good. So, right now, honestly, there's just a lot of bargains. A lot of bargains, right? Things that were super, super high that you may have been sitting on the sidelines. In fact, I just created a video about promising NFTs just like 2 minutes ago. No, not 2 minutes ago, about 2 hours ago. And things are definitely looking much cheaper now than 2 hours ago. But those projects still exist. They're still good ones. Nothing has changed fundamentally. But if you look at the list, with the exception of Tether going up 2%, which doesn't really make sense because it should be pegged at $1. But it did because so many people are trying to cash out to Tether. And this is the worst time to be doing that. This is the time to be taking out your Tether and buying rather than converting to Tether. But obviously with Tether going up, meaning that a lot of people are panic selling right now. They're panic selling to Tether. And that's exactly what you don't want to do at this situation. You want to do the reverse. You want to buy low and sell high. You don't want to buy high and sell low, right? Especially if you bought high, it's fine. Just don't sell low. Then you're doing it wrong if you do, right? But there's a lot of bargains. Look at the big cap, right? It doesn't look very, very nice right now, but they could be turning into green by this time tomorrow. So you look at, Ethereum down 12%, Binance Coin 8, XRP 16, Cardano, even Dogecoin down 15, although they actually didn't move since this morning. So they're actually still holding pretty strong. But you look at Polkadot, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, across the board, about 15%, right? But guess what? VeChain, only down 4%, 5%. That shows you how strong VeChain is. A project that has been sporting for a long time, but shows you how strong they are right now. What else is there? I'm missing Calvin. Yup, buy the effing dip. 100% a smart move jumping in on a moment. Drop all my ETH into file a mana with the dip. Okay. What else is there? Can you explain exactly who benefits when longs get liquidated and why they benefit? Well, it's easy. Think about it. If you can drive things lower and you could cause the longs to get liquidated, it's going to go lower. Well, you got cash ready, first of all, to buy at low. You could buy at a low point. You could buy at 50,000 and you knew exactly where it's going to go. Second of all, you could have taken out a huge short contract. It's going to go down. You could profit from that too. So you could profit both ways. So if you could drive the market down like what these whales did, then you could benefit tremendously. So this is why, honestly, I've been saying for a long time, don't leverage. These guys just don't learn. There's so many people that keep leveraging, keep utilizing their 10x, 15, 20, 50, 100x. I don't care even if you do something small like a 5x. You could get liquidated and it tallies up really, really quick. It tallies up really, really quick. So, what else is there? Mike, I can't check if it's F2 pool because Crypto Quant removed that data. So that doesn't really show anymore, unfortunately. But we know what happened. The whales caused the liquidations. All the longs got liquidated. It's all-time high. I don't think I've seen this much get liquidated. It's insane. Okay, appreciate it. This is why I came on. Because I know most of you guys are new. Most of you guys that's watching this right now, you've probably been in only for a few months. You haven't been in for years, right? And if you've been in for years, this is natural. 2018, 19, 20, We've seen 30, 35, 40% drops almost weekly. And they happen again and again and again. So we've been hardened by that. But for the rest of you guys, I know you're not used to it. And, to be quite frank, even when going back a month, this 20%, 21% is still smaller than some of the ones we've seen, like this 26%. And if you go back a little more, some of these drops, are pretty significant too. Like the 42,000 one down to 28, that's pretty significant too. So, Shelly, Papa Nally, Shelly, appreciate it. Brady Haywood put me on you. I appreciate your knowledge and advice. Always been a stock to 9.95% in crypto. Congratulations, Charles. I think you'll find the crypto world to be a lot more rewarding. But you got to watch out for yourself, because with the good comes the bad, right? There will be a lot of manipulation. There's a lot of regulations that doesn't exist. It exists with stocks. It doesn't exist with crypto, for better and for worse, right? So the opposite of this could happen, and it happens all the time. But welcome. Polkadot's project actually looks pretty good. It actually looks pretty good. It's like a full-fledged DEX ecosystem for Polkadot. Looks pretty good. Longer weekends, appreciate that. And Calvin again, mentally prepared. I'm glad to hear that. So, if you take nothing else from this stream, okay? If you take nothing else from this stream, the one thing you should take is don't panic sell, okay? Don't panic sell. Panic sell is the worst thing you could do, because after you panic sell, it first of all, you hate yourself for selling because now you're at a loss. Second of all, you spend every single second afterwards wondering if you should buy in. I guarantee you, I've done it before. Many people have done it before. You psych yourself out so much after you panic sell. You're like, oh my God, did I do the right thing, right? And every single second afterwards, you're going to be wondering if you should buy in. And if things come up, you're going to hate yourself. You're like, oh my God, why did I sell? Now I have to panic buy in, right? And it just causes so many bad emotions. And after you go through that once, and the second time it comes around, it makes you second guess yourself and third guess yourself. And it gets worse and worse and worse. So trust me, panic selling is not what you want to do. If things go down, which they do, all right, you know what? Let it be. But dollar cost average. Buy a little more on a dip, and then you're cost averaging your price on Bitcoin or whatever, right? That's the way to do it. And if you simply hold, especially on something like Bitcoin, it always comes up. For the last 12 years, it always comes up. Maybe sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but it always comes up and it forms a new high. It has happened for the last 12 years and it's not going to stop. So don't panic sell. If you take nothing, don't panic sell. But the second thing you should take from this stream is don't leverage longs. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care how good someone is at TA and they're doing their stream and they're like, this is exactly what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. I guarantee you, no one today said, okay, Bitcoin is going to do a flash crash from 59,000 to 50,000. I guarantee you no one said that today, because this is not predictable, right? And if some of those people told you, okay, this is a good time to go leverage long, right? Guess what would happen? You would have been liquidated among the 3 billion that were liquidated tonight, right? So this is why. If you enjoy a project, you enjoy Bitcoin, simply buy and hold dollar cost average. Do not fall into the trap where, you think it's a guaranteed thing. You have to leverage to make more money. People get greedy. They feel like, everyone's making money except me, so I have leverage. Trust me, everyone's in the same game. Some people start earlier, some people start later, but ultimately, you know what? You end up in the same place. The gains are pretty much the same. It's just the dollar amount is different. That's pretty much it. What else is there? Whales behind the drop seem to be hurting themselves by scaring people out of the market. No. You know why? Because they know. They know this is not going to scare people out of the market. The market is very strong right now. If this dropped down to, let's say, 20,000, then that would scare people out of the market. I mean, first of all, they don't have enough money to do that. You would need to be like an Elon Musk and simply drop like 100 billion shorts to be able to cause that to happen. But no, it doesn't, because they know that, yes, this will recover. People will forget about it and go back to their greedy ways. This is how it is with crypto. New people that come in, they always forget. They only live in the moment. So this doesn't affect them. Someone said refresh, it gone to 6 billion. That would be crazy if it did. That would be insane. No, it went to 2.88, so I don't know. Maybe this is slow. I mean, this takes a while to refresh, so I would not be surprised. I mean, this is all-time high. This is ridiculous, right? And I've been saying, don't do those leverage longs. Just don't do it. If you get liquidated, you can never recover from that. And something else I'll tell you from based on experience, because I've lived through this. Just like if you panic sell, you question yourself all the time. When you get liquidated, what ends up happening is you think, okay, I have to make that back, right? And it makes you take more risk. It makes you leverage even more money or utilize a higher leverage to try to get that back. And that's what happens. People fall into this trap, especially once they get liquidated. They keep wanting to make that back, and they keep leveraging, and they dig themselves deeper into a deeper hole. And then they get to the point where, really bad things happen. So you don't want to do that either. Illuminati, that's next week, not this coming week. So we'll see. Someone says refresh. Yeah, I refreshed this, didn't get there yet. Carl from the moon is going to say exactly as predicted. I like to see that. Thoughts on exchange spread like ADA and Link have 10%, 15% Binance. You know why? Because people are panic selling. Just like you could just look at this. Why is Tether above $1? It should not be above $1. It should never be above $1. But why is it? Because the system can't keep up, because so many people are panic selling right now. That's probably why there's a large spread between buys and sells, because people are looking at it and they're like, oh, no, I'm going to sell. When in reverse, this should be the opposite. This should be below $1, because when things pump up really quick, we've seen it many times where Bitcoin goes up like 3,000 points or 4,000 points all of a sudden, and Tether goes down because people are actually FOMOing in. But what should happen is the opposite. It should be exactly the opposite, but it's never the opposite. It's always as you expect, and that's how the whales win. Slain, I am impressed by that. I mean, Doge really didn't drop from this morning, so it is quite impressive. Emily, appreciate that support. That's why I'm here. It's still early, folks. Henry says, if a 10% dropped, scared of you would not have survived 2017. No, not even 2017. 2018, 19, and 20. I think most people forget. Gino, thank you for that. Most people forget that Bitcoin dropped from 10,000 to 3,800 in 2020. That was only a year ago. That was not like 5 years ago. That was a year ago. So a lot of people really got scared out when that happened. But guess what? Bitcoin survived and came up and continued forward. So look at Nulls, how amazing it is. Yes, Nulls has been coming up really nice. So what are the best buys tonight? Man, take your pick. Well, you can see obviously the market cap is coming up. Alts are coming back up. People are realizing maybe I should not have panic sold. I should have just kept it. So things are coming out. I mean, there's so many buys. You take your pick. I've covered so many altcoins in the past, but looking at the big caps, I love Binance Coin. It's not as down as much as some of the others, but I like Binance Coin. For you Cardano fans, this is pretty good. Dogecoin, I still like it now. Polkadot, even Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. Uniswap, I like Uniswap a lot. I like Chainlink a lot. I like VeChain a lot, but VeChain is strong. It's only down 2%. So if you're trying to get a bargain on VeChain right now, you can't. And VeChain is climbing up to top 10. I've been saying VeChain is a top 10 project, and it just keeps climbing, right? But other bargains like Theta, I just mentioned about NFTs. Theta down 20%. That's a terrific pickup. If you're going down the list, Filecoin 17%. You have Solana and Neo. They're not down that much. What else is there? Like Terra has been kind of weak, but down 15%. You know, like someone like Cosmos down 70%. I think Cosmos, even Aave, and going down the list. Man, PancakeSwap is very strong. Kusama is also very strong, so good for them. But Chili's, you know, Elrond, I mean, take your pick. You know, here's the thing. I feel like some people, I get asked all the time, like, hey, do you have a new project? Do you have a new project? You know, sometimes you don't need a new project. Sometimes you just up what you have. You know, there's nothing wrong with what you have. If you already have 10, 20, 30 alts in your portfolio, doesn't mean that you always have to add a new one, right? if there's one that comes along, that's great, but you don't have to force yourself to always get something new. A lot of the things that you hold are pretty good already. So look at what has been stagnant. You know, what's a good pickup, and dollar cost average. You know, Brian, appreciate that. All right, guys. I think that's it. I'm gonna let you guys go. Algorand, I think it's promising. I just don't know enough about them. I like other projects better. XLM, I'm not sure what they're doing. You know what? We're going back to 60K in the next few hours. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised by tomorrow we make a big recovery up. Right now, obviously, it's nighttime for the U.S. Most of Europe is still asleep. So you're not going to be able to see a lot of the people come on and actually be able to dollar cost average and buy, right? So we'll see. But I think this right now was much bigger than it should have been, and this is ridiculous. Let me refresh again. Is if this really gets to like 6 billion, it'll be the most ridiculous thing ever. But this is still increasing, about 2.9 billion now, and this is the long liquidations, and just this is embarrassing. So don't do it. If you guys want to be greedy, okay. If you want to be greedy, fine, but just don't do it, because you could end up not only wrecking yourself but wrecking the whole community too. Because when you add them together, it causes a cascading effect of short sells, and it drops the order book really, 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 really fast. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. As always, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. It'll be an interesting stream tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, so make sure you tune in. But you know what? There's a lot of bargains to be had tonight, so go shop.